Thank you all for coming down today. We wanted to update you. It's been all over social media on a kidnapping that occurred in Escambia County, Florida on the 20th. So I want to give you a little bit of background. 2 days elapsed before the mother of the children contacted the Escambia County Sheriff's Office. We exhausted all local leads, in attempting to locate the individual who was allegedly had taken the children, and also soliciting the help from the Florida Department of Law Enforcement and eventually the FBI and the U.S. Marshal Service. So we're happy to announce today that we have taken into custody, through the assistance of the Federal Bureau of Investigation in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. We have Jose Garcia Montez. He was born in 1981. We are still attempting to verify the accurate resident status of Mr. Montez. We know that he was born in 1981. He has an extensive criminal history. He's been arrested on 4 different felonies, 5 different misdemeanors, 1 felony conviction, 1 involving a deportation. On the 20th, Mr. Montez took the following children: 3-year-old Jose Emmanuel Garcia, 4-year-old Cristina Maria Garcia, 6-year-old Kimani Nevea Reese, and tomorrow is the birthday of Kaylin Sophia Garcia. She'll be 1 year old tomorrow. Mr. Montez took the children from their mother's house on January the 20th and never brought them back. And again, the ECSO, along with the help of Florida Department of Law Enforcement, Federal Bureau of Investigation, and also the U.S. Marshal Service, took into custody approximately about an hour ago Mr. Montez in Baton Rouge. We received the information just a few minutes ago that the children have also been located. They are safe, and right now working through the Baton Rouge Police Department and the FBI and the Department of Children and Family Services. We're assisting in the arrangements to have the children returned to their mother in Pensacola, Florida. We'll answer any questions that you may have at this time. Yes, sir.
Did you find that this was a case of human trafficking?
No, no indications of that.
When it comes to that 2-day time span that you just mentioned, that the mother failed to report her children missing, any kind of legal action against her for failing to do that?
David, to the best of our knowledge, because of their relationship, and again, she has the children with Mr. Montez, she was in constant communication with him. She was under the belief that he was going to bring the children back, as best we can determine at this time. And so therefore, until there was a point at about the 2-day point where basically, is our understanding at this juncture, that he just told her, I'm not bringing the children back. At that time, she contacted law enforcement and requested assistance.
Obviously, this was a multiple agency effort. Where did you find, or where did authorities end up finding him in Louisiana? How did that come about? Was it a tip to the FBI, FBLE?
It was, yes, through technical measures. I'll just state that in conjunction with FDLE coordinating with the U.S. Marshal Service and the Federal Bureau of Investigation. And he's in the Baton Rouge area on a construction site in Baton Rouge.
Many people have asked why no Amber Alert. Can you walk us through that process with children?
Well, again, the Amber Alerts is very cumbersome, if you will. Number one, the Amber Alert is to give a vehicle and a vehicle license plate number, meaning that when we put information out there requesting the public's assistance in the locating of an individual, what do we tell you? So if we just put out there that we're looking for a Hispanic male with 4 children, that's a pretty broad spectrum. So so it's got to be some level of specificity. In this case, a vehicle and license plate number, which is one of the requirements. We, of course, went to the Florida Department of Law Enforcement, requested their assistance in getting together an Amber Alert. I will also tell you that we were right on the cusp of actually doing that with the limited information that we had. And when I say doing that, the Florida Department of Law Enforcement, I think, was going to say, if we can't locate these children, then due to the necessity, if you will, of getting information out there, we're going to put scanned information out there just to assist to locate.
And what is Montez's relationship to these children? Is he biological father to any of them?
One of the children is biologically his. Oh, excuse me, 3? I'm sorry. 3 of the children are. That's a change. This morning we were told it was 1 of the 4. So, okay, 3 of the children are biologically his.
Did he give authorities any problem with being taken into custody?
I have no information to pass on along that line.
Can you speak about his deportation?
I would prefer not to, and here's why. We have, again, the report here is his criminal history. So we know it's extensive. We know that he's had numerous contacts, everything from drugs, assault with a deadly weapon. I mean, it's a pretty extensive criminal history. However, his actual immigration status, I would prefer to defer that to the Immigration and Customs Enforcement folks, ICE.
And for taking children across state lines, what kind of charges is he possibly facing?
Well, those will be federal charges. Obviously, right now, he is being charged with 1 count of kidnapping. Or, excuse me, arrested for 4 counts of kidnapping, I'm sorry.
Was there any other contraband on him at the time of his arrest?
Can't speak to that issue at this time.
Were the children with him when he was found? You said they were located a short time after.
To the best of my knowledge, no. He had dropped the children someplace else. It's our understanding right now that he was arrested at a work site and the children were not with him.
Were the children harmed in any way?
We have no information to release now about that.
What was the mother's reaction when her children were found?
Well, again, I mean, emotions always run high when it involves children. I'm sure that at this time she's elated that her children were found as best we can determine right now, they're safe.
So I guess walk us through the severity of this. You mentioned that she had contact with him over these last 2 days. So I guess she felt some kind of comfort knowing that he had her children. Walk us through that. At what point did it transition into like, hey, this is a serious situation, let's get law enforcement involved?
Well, again, I mean, she had constant contact with him, and at such time, I think she felt comfortable because of the relationship that they had. He's the father of 3 of the children. That until such time, David, that he kind of stepped off and said, "I'm not returning the children," is when it went bad. I would assume, again, not speaking for the mother, quite obviously, that until such time that he is refusing to return the children to the mother, the custodial parent, that things were probably okay. And so that's when it went bad.
This video is in relation to this?
That has no relation to this case. That's the second case we want to brief you on.
And you mentioned, I guess, his involvement here locally. You guys went through the extensive efforts of searching for him here. At what point did you guys decide, like, hey, he might not be in this area?
At that level, Chief, I think I'm going to let Colonel Quinata, who's our AOIC in investigations, he can speak to you more of the mechanics of exactly what we went through. This is Colonel Quinata.
Good afternoon. Now, we thought we had received information from the mother who'd been cooperating, I mean, obviously, because it's her children, that he may have been going westbound. That is the only information that she gave us, so we went off that tip and that lead, soliciting the help of the other agencies, FDLE, FBI, and such.
Okay, if there aren't any further questions, Chief Deputy Chip Simmons is going to brief you on an incident. Again, we're changing step here about a shooting that occurred in Escambia County. Chief Simmons?
Yes, sir. Thank you. We've been busy today, obviously. The video that we're going to show you a piece of is based on a shooting that occurred yesterday at W Street in Fairfield. It happened around noon, and obviously a very busy intersection in which 2 cars were involved in an exchange of 10 to 12 rounds. What we'll do is we'll show you the video, and I'll give you a little more detail after that. And then this video will actually be available on Facebook or social media here shortly. But we'll go ahead and play the video now. Do my best to narrate. The car on the very left is a gold cutter vehicle being involved. A car will come on to your right and clearly acting crazy. Return fire there. Okay, David, that's probably enough for now. The video is from an individual that happened to be behind, just had a dash cam going and happened to be behind them. As you can imagine, if you're driving and you stop at a red light, cars to your left, cars to your right, and they're exchanging gunfire, how traumatic that could be. So obviously we've been working that since yesterday. Today we had the descriptions, vehicle descriptions out, and that car on the left, the gold cutter vehicle, was spotted by one of our deputies, obviously a vehicle pursuit. Individual jumped out, we ended up catching him. The person that we have arrested so far is Jeremy Olds. He is the individual that got out of the car, the left car, and also fired. Jeremy Olds, black male, 9'10" of 87. Currently, he has been charged with possession of a firearm by a convicted felon. He has a history involving robberies and gun charges. What we are looking for, though, and we're asking for your help on, is the silver Lexus. The vehicle on the right was a silver Lexus with a H. Henry, V. Victor, R. Robert, G. George 69 Florida tag. HVR G69, a silver Lexus. We're still looking for that vehicle. And that shooter that you saw there, we are looking for an individual by the name of Jonathan James Harris. Jonathan James Harris, black male, 627 of 90. He also has previous charges of guns and drug charges. Right now, we're looking for him, and the intended charges will be 4 counts of aggravated assault and potentially 1 charge of attempted murder. So what you can see is the vehicle on the left, we have made an arrest in that individual shooting, and the vehicle on the right we're still looking for, and the occupants of that vehicle, to include Jonathan James Harris. And we do have a picture of Jonathan James Harris that I'll hold up for a second, but then we will also have this picture available to you. So again, as you can imagine, this type of stuff doesn't happen often in the streets of Escambia County, but when it does, it can be a horrific incident, especially if you're the one that's in or near the intersection that's involved. So luckily, no one got injured during the shootings. And again, the deputies did a great job. In short order, they found the one vehicle, they made 1 arrest, and we're asking for your help to find this other individual. And with that, that's where we are on these. I would like to add in the vehicle on the left, the gold vehicle, there were 2 small children in the back seat of that vehicle. They are aged, 2 and 6, I believe it was?
2 and 8.
2 and 8. So in that gold vehicle, which had 4 rounds strike it, one broke out the back window and one the back side window. That vehicle had a driver. It had Mr. Olds in the passenger side who got out and exchanged fire, and it also had 2 small children in the back seat. So again, we're very fortunate. They're very fortunate that no one actually got injured or got shot in that situation. But now that also lets you know just how bad we want to find these people that are involved. And with that, I'll answer any questions. Yes, sir.
We had reports of gang-related shootings in the area recently.
We have reports of gunfire, periodically, but at this point we look at all angles. But I can't tell you that this is gang involved. We do have reason to believe that this is involving drugs, and that one vehicle owed the other vehicle money, and you can determine which one owed what.
What was the intersection again?
W Street and Fairfield.
And
Again, just before noon.
Middle of the day, describe just how dangerous a situation like that can be when gunfire is being exchanged at such a random pace.
Yeah, it doesn't take much to put yourself in the position of the vehicle that had the in-car video. And again, as I mentioned early on, if you're driving and you're listening to the radio, you stop at a stop light, and then cars on your left and cars on your right are exchanging gunfire. That's something that we obviously do not tolerate in Escambia County, and we were on this thing from the very get-go. Yes, ma'am.
And you said you have in custody the person in the gold car to the left who got out and fired shots, but also are you looking for the driver for information?
Yes, well, we're looking for everyone that was involved, and our investigators are talking to a number of people, some that were involved, some that have information. The driver of the vehicle on the left, but clearly he was driving. So we're looking to have a discussion with him, but the individual that got out and fired the shots is the one that we have in custody, and obviously the 2 that fired the shots from the car on the right, the silver Lexus, we're looking forward to talk to them as well.
Do we have an ID on those people?
Again, I mentioned Jonathan James Harris is one of the individuals, and we're still looking for information on the second individual in that silver Lexus. Yes, sir.
You talk about the opioid crisis in the state. Drug usage is something you just mentioned here in this situation. Is there a real extensive problem with controlling drugs in this county right now? I remember you in the past saying that you can't be in every neighborhood at every time, but is it out of the control to the point where this might be common?
Well, I mean, if you're asking about whether drugs cause incidents to escalate and you can run into an incident like this, the answer is yes. If you look at our crime stats are down 23% over the last 5 years in violent crime, nonviolent crime, and overall crime statistics. But that doesn't do any good when you're stopped at a stoplight and the car to your left is shooting at the car to your right. So we're very concerned about where we're heading as a culture with regards to the narcotics that people are buying and selling, and how violent these things can get and how quickly they can escalate. So we're concerned about drugs, but I don't know that we can say that this is commonplace, because clearly it is not.
And the person who turned over the video to you, describe their emotions and how scary this was, and did they immediately bring the video to you all?
They immediately brought the vehicle to our attention, and yes, and they did a good job of getting it. I think that you can imagine their demeanor, their sense that I just witnessed something that I'm fortunate not to have been more involved in this. But again, we're thankful that they came forward with that, and that's obviously a major part of the evidence that we'll take to court. One more question.
All right, how important is it for community members to work with law enforcement with incidents like this?
Well, again, we rely on the community in this case. We put this vehicle out, we put the names of the suspects out. We know that when we put information out, we're going to end up putting this video up on social media here shortly. And we feel pretty strongly, given the nature of this video, that we will get more and more information out. We have investigators that are surrounding the room, including Colonel Canat over here, and we anticipate getting a lot more information. And so to ask how important it is, I think they're integral to us solving the crimes and getting these people off the street. Thank you guys very much.